Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the canvas off of the frame here. This can sometimes be a little work, but definitely worth it in the end. So I'm just going to cut on the outside of where the staples are. Okay, if you want to take your staples out, you can. That's up to you. But that's going to be the back of the frame, so I'm not really going to worry about it because this is just for me. But if you were going to sell this, then obviously you probably want to take that out to make it look a little better. So then I'm also going to take this and I'm going to trim this down because this is going to actually sit on top of this. So I don't need those extra pieces that are on the outside. So I'm just going to cut a square all the way around because it's going to get added to the back of this. But I'm awful at cutting squares, so I'm going to go ahead and make a mark. And like I said, this is going to get attached to the back. So you can trim that down again more if you need to. But we're going to be pressing on the front of this, and I'm going to be painting this. So we're going to paint this first. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this with a layer of black acrylic paint. So just using, this is licorice, or I'm probably just going to use this one here. It's just a black acrylic paint. And then on top of that, later after it dries, we're going to distress it with this wine color. So, but first, I'm going to go ahead and paint this. Okay, now I'll let this one dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to show you how to measure what you need for your project. This is another one. So this is the dimensions that you're going to take into Design Space. So my canvas is 10 by 10. And you can measure it. You can see it's 10 by 10. But once we remove it from the frame, you need to take into account this extra frame that's going to be right here. So I like to take inside of here, and then I will measure. It's about 8 by 8. So I'm going to make my shape inside of Design Space. It's a little bit smaller than that, maybe about 7.75. So that I know what size I need to make my project that's going to fit inside of here, because remember the frame's going to be on the outside. Okay, so we're going to go over into Design Space while this is drying, and I'll show you how to get your design all set up. Okay, so here we are with our free SVG, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to resize it and move it out of the way. Now I'm going to bring in a square to represent our canvas, and I'm going to change this to 10, and that's going to give us a 10 by 10 square. And I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make this one 7.75. And then I'm going to change that to white just to represent the canvas part. I'm going to grab both of these, align, and I'm going to center. So now this is going to help us to get the size that we need for our actual HTV that we're going to cut. So I'm going to send this to the back. Yep, let me go ahead and group this. Make it easier. Okay, now I'm going to right click and send to the back. And then I can bring my design over the front. and align it and see how it looks. See if I want to resize it or make it bigger or make it smaller. I think that looks okay right there. Like I said, if you want to make it bigger, you can, but I think that looks good right about that size. So let's go over and get this attached so we know it's going to be the way we want it when we cut it. Now with this design, we can ungroup this, and if you go over your layers panel over here, you can see that all of the names are individual. I did not attach those. I did that so that if you wanted to change the colors, let's say you wanted to do like a red and green theme, you could go through and change each one of these to red, green, whatever makes you happy. You can make that happen with the different colors of vinyl that you use. But I'm going to leave them black for what I'm making. I want the black and the red. So your stars right here, those are also black. The deer is black and the little dots are red. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to grab all of my black parts. I'm just holding on my shift key and clicking on each one of them. This black part and this right here. You know what? I don't think I remember. Oh, I did. Okay. I wanted to make sure that I ungrouped it. Okay, and I'm going to click the attach button. And what that's going to do is when I go to make this, all of this black is going to cut together. So all this HTV will be one piece and I can just go ahead and weed all of this. Whereas if I did not attach it, I'll show you how that looks. When we go to make it, all the pieces would be individual and we would have to place them where we want them. So that's why I'm going to attach. Okay, now they're all attached. Now I don't need this. This is just for visual so I can know how big to make my design. So we're going to go ahead and get this cut. And first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I have the machine selected that I'm using, and I'm using my Cricut Maker. So click Make It. And you're using HTV, so you want to make sure that you mirror your design. You need to mirror both mats. Then click Continue, and I'm just going to use Everyday Iron-On, and I'm going to leave my pressure exactly where it is, and I have my fine point blade in, and then we're going to go ahead and get this cut. Okay, we're going to put our HTV, make sure that it is shiny side down. Use your brayer to help adhere it to your mat, and then put it in, and we're going to go ahead and get it cut. Move this, and we're going to flip it over to release it from the mat. Do this one. Okay, our frame is dry. I'm going to go ahead and put a coat of this berry wine on it. Okay, we'll let that dry. Okay, I'm going to be using an Easy Press 2, and I am on the Cricut heat guide. My Easy Press 2 is selected, and my heat transfer material it's an iron-on design. It is everyday iron-on. It's not express. I'm going to click this one here. And my material is cotton canvas. Click apply, and then it'll tell you it has to be 340 degrees for 30 seconds with firm pressure. And since I have 2 layers, I'm going to press the first layer, not the full 30 seconds. I will probably do half of that and then remove the carrier sheet, put the second layer on, and then press for the full time. All right, so my frame is dry. I'm just going to take a piece of sandpaper and lightly go over this. Now this paper is actually too rough for what I want, but it's all I have right now. So I'm just lightly going over it just to get some of that black to show through. Now I am a fan of the distressed look. If you don't care for the distressed look, you can skip this part. You can actually just leave it black or paint it whatever color you want. And the more you sand, you can take it down to the paint, you can take it down to the wood. Or just keep going until you get the look that you like. And the good thing about paint is if you make a mistake, you can always paint back over it. And I'm just going to wipe that down, and I'm going to get my Easy Press warming up. Okay, so according to the heat guide for the Cricut website, this needs to be 340 degrees. Okay, so while that's warming up, I'm going to go ahead and set that aside and get our stuff ready. You can see how this is going to get pressed right in here. Take a look, lay it down. So it's also a good time to go through and make sure you got everything weeded. See, I see an extra piece right there. With these little pieces in here, sometimes it's easy to weed it out and have it stick to the backing. Our Easy Press is ready. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this over here and I'm going to warm it up first, get some of that moisture out of there. And let's lay this down, try and get it centered here. I'm going to take my frame to make sure that it's in the right place. And make sure it's straight. And I'm going to use my Teflon sheet over top of this to help it lay down. Okay, and like I said before, the Cricut website says to press it for 30 seconds, but because I am layering, I'm going to do about 10 seconds and then put my second layer on. Check that and see if it's ready. Okay, pull it up slow because we did not press it the full time, so there's a chance that some of the vinyl could come up. So you want to pull real slow. Okay. And then that second layer is going to go on. Let me make sure I've got my dots the right way here. Let me go take a picture of take a look at my screen. Okay, I have my design on my phone so I can see how it's supposed to be. And I'm going to put some parchment paper down so it doesn't stick, so I'm able to move this around. So let's see. This way. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to press this for the full 30 seconds. Alright, I'm going to let that cool down a little bit. Turn my easy press off. And then this will get placed on here. And you can either staple it on, whatever you're good with. This is just something to help me line it up so I don't have to guess where it goes. You could use double-sided tape if you want, but I don't have any. Okay, and then you can trim that down. Then you can go ahead and, like I said, staple that down, or you can use some adhesive spray. You could even try and hot glue it if you wanted to. Let's make sure again that that's where I want it. There you go. Cute little sign for Christmas.